Absolutely. Let's rock and roll. That sound is the sound of the game launching. We'll launch into game number 1. Again, this is the winners bracket semifinal. The Viper in yellow playing versus Liereyy. It is a Hun's Mirror on Chaos Pit. Again, surrounded by wood. You're going to have to chop through that outer layer to get to all this juicy gold piles on the edge. Players early on should be scouting around, finding turkeys, figuring out where they can get food on the inside of the map. And we will see them probably posturing for position. Liereyy using his restart in game number 1 because he lost his scout. Seems like a good decision to me. And with that, I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, I think the restart was pretty standard here. With the Huns were probably one of the more aggressive civs. Remember, we have very little food here, only some deer, we have only 6 sheep, you have 2 bushes of berries, and yeah. So tower rush is an option. We can see a lot of scouts, maybe some skirmisher, and spearman aggression. We will see, yeah, maybe even a chaos pit.
We are about to devolve into chaos. I think scouts are a great option on this map. It's so open, and obviously you don't need gold to a scout rush. Both players should be pushing deer. They should be getting themselves ready. We saw an early scout fight last game. The Viper was able to win that. Viper is now forward, trying to grab a couple extra resources from Liereyy. He's going to find a turkey here. That will be a nice little addition to the Viper's food eco. Oh, he's going to just miss it. Just miss it by a little tiny bit. Viper here running toward Lierey's TC. If he takes some arrow fire, he might rematch as well. But it looks like he'll be able to find Lierey's woodline early.
Yeah, it seems like now he sees that villager, so he knows where the woodline is. And I believe that's a pretty, solid info for him. Liereyy, it's just running around. It's not like super important because you kind of know where your enemy is chopping anyways. It's most of the time like just a line from your TC to the outside. But nice gold spot there. And if we take a look at the Viper's wood, he needs to run a bit further to get some gold. Look at that. Needs to scout. Left area, not so much. Right area, a solid one.
Yeah, absolutely. The Viper's gold here isn't ideal either. It's a little bit blocked off on one corner. But yeah, he'll have to go a little further to find it. Liereyy will chop through just where he wants to be. 4th villager going over to wood for Liereyy, which I think is pretty standard on this map. Viper will send 4 over to wood as well.
Yeah, now we get into the transition where you need to see, is someone laming the deer, is someone pushing the deer? It seems like Liereyy is just pushing them at the same time. Most likely Viper will just build a mill close to his second berries, more to the north, and will use those deers as well. Beautiful pushing here by Liereyy.
Yep, Liereyy pushing in his deer now. He's still missing a couple sheep in the center of the map, but I think he'll find those soon. Heading over to his mill, and we have a brief pause in the game at exactly 3 minutes and 59 seconds, but we're going to continue to roll forward here. So no rematch called by the Viper. He's going to play it as it lies here in game number 1 of the winners bracket final. Escape Euro Cup today, and we will see either Liereyy or Viper emerge out of here into the grand final. Looking forward to that.
Absolutely, and securing the top 2 spot, getting the home map advantage there in the best of 5 series as well. So yeah, you absolutely want to go there, especially because if you drop down, you're not even guaranteed to get back to the winner bracket or the grand finals because Tato is waiting in the loser bracket finals there. Ugly spot.
Absolutely. Tato waiting with bated breath. He is ready to pounce on whoever comes down into that losers bracket final. What we've got right now is both players pushing in deer, building up their berries, chopping through the wood lines. We're waiting for this one to kick off. Villager numbers should be very similar. Neither player has loomed at the moment, and we're just rocking and rolling through this one early on. Have you seen a lot of Chaos Pit games with either the Viper or Liereyy? Are either of them strong on this map particularly?
It is tough to say. Obviously, it's not like the most competitive map ever, and the last competitive games we saw were mainly like big team games, where Huns are like super used. We saw some Byzantines, Celts, Mayans, and such. So they're playing with a stronger civilization that should be known how to start. But I cannot really say he's a better player, but generally, if it gets scrappy, Viper is so on point when it comes to decision making.
I've been impressed today by Lierey's ability to keep up with so many things happening at once. I mean, he's just so fast. Watching him play in person really blew my mind. So we'll look forward to he and Viper squaring off in a chaotic one. Relic in the south for Liereyy in the bottom corner of the map. Viper's got 1 relic on his side as well. I think all in all, this is a totally fair map. It's a totally equal start. I think it's a wise decision for the Viper not to restart here. There's no real reason to do that. And what we're going to see is this probably evolve into a scout war, but I guess we'll wait and find out here in just a few moments.
Yeah, Scout was absolutely an option, and maybe if you could wall some more, you could have made an argument for Skirm, Spearman. The thing is, oh, that's an interesting lumber camp here by Liereyy, I have to say. Normally you see it built on the outside more, or but maybe things those villagers will just shop themselves out anyways, and he just wants to get some more access, and maybe if he's getting raided there, he still has a safe wood very close to us to see.
Yeah, you might foresee his ability to maybe block in some of this side of the map, and then that would be safe as well. But it is an interesting lumber camp that's not on the perimeter. Looking forward to seeing Viper's next lumber camp. He's sending 4 villagers forward. Looks like he will be building that camp right up on the edge of the map. So already a slight difference in the strategy between these two players.
Indeed, and both now on the way to the Feudal edge. Viper playing with pop 23, pop 22 here for Liereyy, so a bit of a faster start. And that's pretty incredible, because you have to remember, you don't have any boars on this map.
Yeah, absolutely. Liereyy taking a little bit of TC arrow fire. It's going to not be that big of a deal, but it'll hurt him a little bit if it does turn into a scout war. You can see Lierey's getting his barracks up. He's got walling going on the left flank of the map, and he's actually going to probably block in a good portion of the map there. Viper able to get in a few more pokes on Lierey's scout. So if it does turn into a scout war, the Viper will have an advantage early on.
Yeah, lost some HP, but that's true. Viper can take some engagement a bit earlier, but Lierey's uptiming will be quite nice, and he will have the second and third scout out earlier for sure. The Viper pretty clumped up here, and I'm surprised that he's walling basically second berries off. Look at those walls, and cannot really access the second berries. Not 100% sure. Did he maybe not scout them?
Viper here knows about those berries. He's going to actually, as you said, he's going to wall them out with the barracks and a couple of palisades. Anything that comes around this flank of Viper's TC will obviously take a lot of arrow fire, so that will stop Liereyy from getting in. Lierey's doing a ton of palisading on his side of the map. He's going to block also toward the TC and use that as a cap for his defenses. Whole left flank is blocked in, whole right flank is blocked in. Lierey's still kind of hanging around, hits the Feudal Age, will harass a couple villagers here, but nothing terribly meaningful. Viper going with an archery range right away.
Well, that's super interesting. And yeah, now we see Spearman, Skirmishers, and Skirmishers for Liereyy as well. And just see, he's using both of his berries, not a single farm yet. Viper already forced to build 2 farms there. I would say it's like a tiny bit of an eco advantage, but both players just will go for the Skirm approach. I like that because scouts obviously are super mobile, but you need to find angles where you can actually attack, and both players have walled up beautifully here.
Yeah, both players playing a pretty closed game. Both guys going with skirmishers. Liereyy will have double ranges. He's forward a little earlier, harassing the Viper. Viper's got 1 range, and he's got a narrow corridor that he's defending. He will chop through the wood line and expand his economy on the outside here. But Viper with 1 range for the moment. He's going to fall a little bit behind on production.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Second archery range so much faster here for Liereyy. And Liereyy already really knocking at the door. And yeah, I'm really curious how this will go out. At the moment, it's 2 skirmishers against 3 skirmishers. Those are basically the important units, but now the scout is around. And that's something we said before. Viper Scout has so much more HP here.
Yeah, Viper Scout will come in and do a little bit of damage, get in and poke, and get back out. For now, players are posturing around. The Viper has finished his berry patch. As you said, he's had to drop a few farms because he did not mill his second berries. Viper will drop a blacksmith. We'll see fletching coming in soon for him. On the other side of the map, Liereyy still does not have a blacksmith just yet, and he is still chopping through that back wood line.
It's so weird that he actually even pulled villagers off of that wood line.
Yeah.
Because there are only 3 working there. Normally, people really tend to see, okay, they're the good wood spots, I can get so much map control, I can get onto gold, and people really rushing out there. For example, I believe like Viper should be so much faster. Let's take a look at that. Look at that, that's only like 50 wood left, and if he sends a villager to the other side on walls off the wood line, which is absolutely a strategy, he might be so much faster.
Absolutely, yeah. The Viper here is playing what I would call the standard strategy, which is get through that wood line as fast as you can. As you said, Liereyy is chopping this intermediate wood line, which is a little bit strange to me, but you know, Lierey's calculated some interesting things earlier on in the day, and we'll have to see what he can do in this match. At the moment, +1 damage for the Viper. Liereyy does not have the upgrades, but he has the army number advantage.
Indeed, 7 to 15 here, and you can't micro even if you're 7 to 15 when you have fletching. So Yeah, the Viper even behind in villagers, and as said before, those settings suit Liereyy so well, and it seems like he's in full control of this game so far.
Yeah, Liereyy keeping the pressure on. Viper will expand his economy out to that berry patch, but that's a clandestine mill if I ever saw one. These villagers are very exposed. Liereyy is certainly going to want to climb that hill and harass those villagers with his Skirmisher advantage. Still no damage upgrade yet for Liereyy, but we'll see a blacksmith coming in right now.
Yeah, indeed, and then he will rush to fletching. He's now kind of taking the silly area over here. The scout is always aware, seeing where the villagers are. He still has a spearman, and I believe, especially with Lierey's Skirm micro, which is top-notch in the world, I believe he's in a pretty juicy spot here.
Very hard to kill a villager with skirmishers without fletching, but Liereyy will come in and poke at Viper. He'll also take the hill advantage on this fight, so he has the numbers advantage and the same upgrades and a hill advantage. I think Lierey's in a good spot here. If he can push the Viper away, he can get in on the vills, but again, Viper's higher HP scout could be a factor here.
Let's take a look. The spearman trying to get some damage done, but instantly getting sniped down, and that might be a juicy engagement here for the Viper if he's trying to engage it. He's pulling 3 villagers. The scout is rampaging there at the front, trying to do skirm with the skirm micro, and feels like all the skirmishers will die, which is pretty good for the Viper actually.
Yeah, Viper here bringing the villagers into the fray at the right moment, bringing his scout into the fight. Absolutely a great engagement for him. Kind of baited me into thinking it was a good fight. Maybe he baited Liereyy into thinking that was a good fight as well. But in the end, the Viper will clean that aggression up. Villager counts are +6 for Liereyy, but I think that could be a wheelbarrow difference.
I'm not even sure. I think he didn't do wheelbarrow. It's pretty tight game, or not like. It's so weird that Liereyy is so heavily ahead here. He just kept up the production. Viper rushing to the fletching, and I believe the big thing, like not taking the second berries, really hurt him here.
Yeah, Viper is farming like a madman. Liereyy has dropped a bunch of farms as well. We still see Liereyy not that aggressive at chopping through the wood line. The Viper has already chopped through. He is scouting around the inside, or rather the outside of the ring, looking for some easy gold to grab, and he's not quite finding it yet. So the Viper needs a bit more time to find his gold. Liereyy continuing to try to pressure Viper here, but it seems like the Viper's in a fine position.
He is definitely in a fine position when it comes to that. I just checked no wheelbarrow for either player. So the Viper investing his resources in getting the +1 defense, and now going for the wheelbarrow after we mentioned it the 5th time. So nice spot there.
Yeah, I'm interested in how the Viper fell behind on villagers as such, but we will continue to roll through this one at the moment. Another good engagement for the Viper. He's going to take down these skirmishers from Liereyy once again. Liereyy has to transition into a slightly different build. He's going to drop a stable back at home. If we look at Lierey's resources, a little bit of food in the bank, enough to build a scout. So he's going to try to change the momentum of this game. He'll also watchtower up his stone on the front.
Yeah, that's interesting that he wants to build towers. That's confused me a bit. I think he could have just went for the stone anyways, without any defensive towers. But maybe he wants to get some time for him to really, get more scouts out, and to the big surprise. At the same time, Viper with his scout, or like the scout switch as well.
Yeah, both players are continuing to build skirmishers. We've got a couple spears coming out for Liereyy and a couple of scouts. The Viper is also dropping a stable, so we're going to see a very mirrored build here early on. This tower is probably going to be enough to help Liereyy hold the line on this side. He's going to start taking stone with 2 or 3 villagers over there. Viper on the other side of the map is not taking stone. He's walled his stone out for now.
Yeah, and very interesting. Viper is basically accepting the full-on feudal war. He's now going on gold on the outside here. Pretty sweet move for him. And yeah, going for the defense upgrade here for his scouts means he wants to produce more than one.
Yeah, and I hear a mining camp coming down for Liereyy as well. We'll just check that quick, that he's made his way through, dropped an outpost, and has found some gold to mine. Both players roaming around with a couple of scouts. Lierey's got a spearman in here. He could get a poke or 2 in on the Viper, but for now it is it's pretty much a stalemate here on the side of the map. I think the Viper's done a nice job to defend, but his villager count is really falling behind a bit.
Damn, 8 villagers behind there, and without really the biggest pressure. So now it needs to fall back a bit more. Scout count seems to be 4 against 4. No upgrades on those scouts for Liereyy, but still chasing down since he has the bigger numbers.
Yeah, Viper with the defense upgrade on his scout can soak up a lot of skirmisher fire, so he is ready for this fight if he wants it. He's actually going to hold his units to the south, and he's going to trap Liereyy in here. He's going to pincer this group of skirmishers. Viper able to bait Liereyy into, I think, another pretty good fight for the yellow player.
Oh god, what is Liereyy doing here? He loses so many skirmishers. That's a big engagement here for the Viper. He's pushing in. Most of the skirmishers going down. We're down to now 5 skirmishers. Scouts were so much out of position. Spearman coming over. He's getting sniped. Look at that military count now 20-8. Was that maybe the big engagement that might cost Liereyy the game? It's looking pretty good for the Viper, and he's continuing to push.
Yeah, Liereyy losing a lot of ground here. He's going to tower up his own side a bit, creating a bit of a phalanx here of arrow fire. If the Viper wants to raid him, he's going to have to go through a lot of arrows. Of course, skirmishers don't care that much about arrow fire. Liereyy still taking gold on the back, has 7 or 8 villagers there. Viper has 5 villagers on gold on top of the map.
And look at the resources. Both players basically the same amount of the resources. They're both in 500s for food, close to 200 when it comes to gold. So maybe both players will actually stop the Feudal Age aggression now and try to go for the Castle Age.
Yeah, the Viper here has to decide if he wants to dive in or not. Seems reluctant to bite the bullet and go under this tower and buy this TC. Second stable coming down for Liereyy back at home. The Viper is still on 1 stable for the moment. As you said, resources are getting close. Liereyy will click castle. Viper will do so about 3 or 4 seconds later.
Indeed, neck and neck game still. So, Liereyy, 4 more villagers, but no army. But he seems fine. Look at that. He has even stone walls up in the south. He has stone walls up over here. We have a lot of towers up. We have outposts at the side. He has so much map vision, so much control. I believe still, although Liereyy is so far behind in army, I think Viper cannot really use that.
Yeah, Viper can't do much here unless he goes all the way around the ring in some way, shape, or form. And look at this. Liereyy is going to actually go ahead and do that before we even thought of it. 4 scouts for Liereyy circling the long way around, and it looks like he might wall this corner so the Viper can't do the same thing. So Liereyy will send scouts to the north, and Viper here has nothing to defend it.
That could be so juicy. And look at that, Bloodlines now on the way as well. So those scouts will have so many HP, and I believe they even still have a reasonable amount. Yeah, and they have the +1 defense as well. They will snipe at least 2-3 villagers there. And that's so good because Viper will try to go for so many knights now, and if you don't have gold, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, absolutely. And Liereyy here continuing to roam forward. Oh, but you know what? You know what we didn't think about? Liereyy does not know the Viper's up in that corner, so he's going to actually go past that gold pile. Would have been an epic place to raid, but he will come down to the south and find a wood line, and there's another 6 villagers there that he can pressure.
When the Viper is actually taking that fight, I'm not 100% sure if that's the best idea. 2 villagers are already pretty low, pulling one back. More scouts now being sent in to help. I believe he can kind of fight that off. Maybe wait for one more spearman. He's just walling it off and should be super safe.
Yeah, Viper here walling 1 villager out, so that poor soul is not going to make it to Christmas this year. But Viper has walled in his gold pile to the north. He's in good shape. That villager goes down, but the walls come up. It could have been a Titanic moment for the Viper. I think he stopped the bleeding pretty quickly, but I think Lierey's in a great spot now.
Still 7 villagers ahead, both going for the bow sword. I believe the Viper has 1 more attack upgrade here for his knights. So the fights will be going a bit more in his favor, but it feels like both players will go for a lot of knights, and maybe a monk transition wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, at the moment, Liereyy scouts continue to roam around. A very small army for him, but a good bit of damage on the Viper's economy. Knights starting to roam out. As you said, for Liereyy, Bloodlines, +1 defense, but no damage upgrade. The Viper has the better knights. He has the bigger army, but he's yet to do damage to Lierey's economy.
I think so as well, because Liereyy is just pulling ahead. He is building a 2nd TC in the back as well. The Viper still playing at 1 TC, trying to scout at the outside, trying to run away as well. But Liereyy just perfectly walled, created his own arena here.
Yeah, Lierey's in good shape. He's actually gotten what I would think a little bit greedy. He's come way out to the middle of the map to wall this in. He's going to have a ton of map control if he can finish off the wall on this back corner.
And at the front now, we see indeed the right direction here by the Viper. See Liereyy is going for mass knights as well. We see husbandry coming for the Viper. No +2 by either player yet.
Yeah, at the moment, these guys both with +1 damage, +1 defense, similar numbers of knights, posturing around, waiting for their moment, getting the monastery up, getting the monks out. Very similar build, but Lierey's been on stone for quite some time, and the Viper is not taking any stone.
He didn't need to build a defensive tower though, so it's still an option to go for 2 TCs, and more than 3 TCs aren't really necessary because players aren't really walled. You can raid so many spots. It's not like an option to go for 4 or 5 TC boom in this situation.
Sure, sure. Viper's going to try to poke and prod in here at the top, but Liereyy is double walled and should be able to deal with that. He actually will stonewall behind this, so the Viper will have to push through these walls quickly. Liereyy, if he quick walls, should be fine there, but we'll keep an eye on it. We've also got scouts in the south, or rather scouts and knights posturing around in the south of the map, trying to see what they can get done. Viper's hanging around Leary's relic on his side, waiting to see if he can snipe a monk on the way out for that relic. And then there's a big knight fight in the middle of the map.
It's not really a fight at the moment, it's more running. I think we didn't see a unit die for quite some time. Maybe that village on the wood line, and before that was a skirmisher fight. So at the moment, both players building the economy, getting the knight count up, and still the better eco carrying Liereyy.
Liereyy running all the way around the map with knights, but Viper saw them coming, he's walled them out.
Although we maybe see a big engagement here in the middle, it seems like the Viper is retreating, knowing that 2 monks around doesn't really give him a favorable engagement.
Didn't see any conversions go in there. Second TC is up now in the back for the Viper. Liereyy at the moment with a 7 villager advantage. Has a smaller army, but he's safe. I think Leary's in a great position here.
Yeah, and especially like he still has the scouts, and you think like scouts, not a good fighting unit, but he can heal them up. And when we got this big knight against knight and monk fights, those scouts can sneak around and kill those monks.
Absolutely. Scouts are the great counter to monks, and monks are going to be aplenty on the map. Viper's still hanging out with a big group of skirms here on the right side, waiting to see if he can get in and snipe some units. Notably, Liereyy did gate this part of the map, but I do believe this top panel is still open. Oh, it's closed here. Okay, I see.
Okay, scouts now actually been wasted. I believe, how many scouts, monks did he kill? Should be at least 1, maybe 2.
Absolutely, and we see the Viper dropping yet another stable. That will be 3 stables for the Viper at the moment. Neither player floating a whole lot of resource, continuing their knight production. Viper has +1/+1 in Bloodlines. Liereyy on the other side with +1/+1 and Bloodlines. Liereyy will go with a market here, still on 2 stables. Viper is on 3.
And that's such a rare game that we're seeing here. Both players not really able to raid, but still going heavily onto knights. Now it really comes down to pure numbers, upgrades, and a bit of the monk migrate. At the moment it is 2 monks against 4 monks, so I have to give the favor here to Liereyy. But let's check the upgrades. It's 1-1 and Bloodlines for Liereyy. On the other side we have 1-1 for the Viper and Bloodlines as well.
Here we go. Viper coming in. Liereyy with his 4 monks. He may get 4 conversions here. Viper's got his monks busy as well. Looks like Liereyy got 2 conversions at least. 3 monks still alive. Big fight in the center of the map.
I'm not really sure why Liereyy pulled back there. That could not have gone well. His monk's completely out of position, got some debation in there, and now he's trying to pull back. Although he didn't have so many lower numbers, he's now getting the +2 tech. The thing is, the Viper is looking at 3 stables. At the same time, Liereyy only has 2 stables in the production. Maybe that might have been the big thing, but it wasn't like the Viper had so much more. It was really just Liereyy being out of position, and now the Viper is putting on the pressure.
I thought Liereyy had a decent chance at a good fight there, but it did not go that way in real life. We've got the Viper now pushing in. I don't know if he wants to fight under this TC and this tower with spearmen coming out from Liereyy, but he's going to stand and fight.
That's so weird. I'm not 100% sure what the knight count is here, but it feels like Liereyy is really down. This looks like 6, 7 knights for him. The Viper is continuing to produce, but he does not have the +2 defense. So fighting under the tower, fighting under the TC, even some spearmen as you said, but Viper just in full control. Look at that. That feels like 10 knights against 0. Liereyy is trying to wall behind that.
Yeah, Viper absolutely can stand and fight there. I didn't think he had the numbers, but he does. He's still cleaning up Liereyy, still taking down monks. Lots of idle villagers inside this town center for Liereyy. We can see about 10 of those right now. Leary's also been stopped from building up these barracks. And the Viper all of a sudden seems to be controlling the middle of Leary's farming economy.
How did he do that? man. It was all about who can control the army a bit better there, and it felt so even. The numbers were a bit better for the Viper, I can agree, but more monks, and monks are so crucial in this fight. I believe Liereyy just being out of position, then only converting 2 knights, losing all his monks, getting converted to... I think Liereyy might even need to switch into Spearman now.
I do think that fight went badly for Liereyy. I do think he needs to change the momentum. He's going to try to do so with Cav Archers. That is a great choice for Huns generally. Viper is going into Knights and Spears still. We see Skirmishers and Elite Skirm coming for the Viper. Remember, there is a big Skirmisher army waiting in the wings. Those will counter Cav Archers pretty well.
Wow, and yeah, I believe Liereyy won't think about that anymore. He feels like, okay, I will just go CA and convert some of the knights. I should be pretty well set up, but surprise, 20 elite skirmishers coming from the side. Let's see if we can get more converts. He gets 1 CA against him, gets 2, 3, even 4 converts there on the knight, so that could not have went better for him, and it feels like that was a pretty good engagement here for Liereyy. He's still losing, but he was so far behind before the fight.
Couple good conversions there for Liereyy. Viper continuing to push forward with cavalry and a bunch of spearmen now. It does have 1 ram out on the front. Both guys will grab Bodkin Arrow. Viper dropping more archery ranges. He's queuing a few more elite skirms, and like we said, still has some elite skirms waiting in the wings. It is Cav Archers for Liereyy, just +1 damage at the moment on those. Now they're +2. No defense upgrades just yet. Liereyy here is going to have a lot of trouble beating back this army from Viper.
Absolutely. I believe even that Viper might have forgotten about his elite skirmishes because he's not using them. They would be so good in this engagement. Now he's adding more archery ranges. Maybe he wants to switch into that. But Lierey's army is just, built to defend here, and Viper is going full aggression. It's queuing up those rams and no real answer to them.
Yeah, Liereyy here going into pikemen, playing very defensively. He's lost a bit of time, but he's still alive. 87 vills. 83 villagers for the Viper. Liereyy trying to raid Viper on the other side. Looks like Viper's TC will go up. Liereyy with a couple knights there, trying to be cheeky on that side. But the big fight here is in the center. Nice mangonel shot there from Viper.
Indeed, a nice snipe of the mangonel after that. Where's all the army now? It feels like the Viper really not using his skirmishers there at the side. Maybe Liereyy needs to switch on to mangonels there as well, because now we're getting into this low HP mass units where mangonels are so efficient.
Absolutely, yeah. Mangonel shots here could continue to help the Viper's momentum. He does have a couple rams. For the moment, he is not queuing more. Liereyy on the other side, adding in some skirmishers, grabbing Thumb Ring at the moment, has stopped cavalry production. Still spending all the resource he has. He's ready to continue to fight this out in Castle Age, and so is the Viper.
Absolutely, both going completely ham. The macro absolutely getting all the resources on the map, clearing up that side. Now trying to, free up a bit more of the area. And we can basically just look at that screen for the next 5 minutes, and they will just throw units against each other.
Absolutely. These guys are all in to fight in the center of the map. Viper with elite skirmishers at the moment.
What's that?
What is this unit, Nilly?
It's a siege tower, and he will try to get the skirmishers to the front. There will try to use the speed, and that will drop out. Something, not a unit that we see too often.
Viper here is breaking the meta a bit. I don't think I've ever seen this unit in a competitive game. He's going to send a siege tower right into the middle here and just pop out the skirms.
Yeah, and that's so true, because like knights would close on the distance against those skirmishers, and now he can focus with all his spearmen against those knights, and then the skirmishers pop out to kill all the CA.
Really interesting to see Viper building a siege tower. A bit of panache in this game. His rams are coming forward. He's going to try to take down Lierey's production buildings here on the front.
I only see like 2 pikemen. I believe the knights of Liereyy are doing a great job here. I believe he needs to pull back all his CA and let to the knights do the damage, because he is looking pretty nice there, trying to focus down the mangonels. Not 100% sure how needed that is. I believe killing this pikeman would be the right choice at the moment, but the production of the Viper is just so incredible.
Yeah, Viper here still sending forward pikes. There are a few knights from Liereyy. He can probably take down this siege tower. It wasn't the game-changing unit that we thought it might be, but Viper has rammed down an archery range now, and soon to be a university. That poor siege tower will die. Continued trash spam here from the Viper, grabbing ballistics as we speak.
Yeah, ballistics, such a nice upgrade for that situation, and I'm a bit surprised that Viper's still not using his units at the south side, but he can still make it happen here. He is totally in the lead. His Rams are pretty good, and if he can kill the University before Ballistics finishes, he can just continue fighting here. Liereyy really not getting onto the numbers. Look at that army count, 50 to 14.
Yeah, absolutely. The Viper right now is really swamping his opponent with trash, continuing to send Rams forward on the back of the map. There is a third TC for the blue player. Viper is on 3 TCs as well. Both guys on 105 Vils. Very similar economies at the moment, but it's Liereyy going into Knights, +2 damage, +1 defense, soon to be +2 defense for Liereyy, and the Viper going into Pikemen and Elite Skirms.
Yeah, just look at the production a bit more to the right-hand side here. Look at that, how many archer ranges, how many barracks, stables. He's just producing like a madman. The siege workshop helping out, a monastery, and yeah, he just kills all the production facilities of Liereyy at the same time.
Yeah, Liereyy is absolutely on the defensive at this point in the match, starting to mass up more Knights. But there are just too many pikes here. Viper with +1, +2 on those units as well. And he's just focusing down the archery ranges. He's slowly going to take out production.
Yeah, Liereyy, I think he should have focused on a mangonel instead of a ballistics here. Mangonels at the back would be so nice. Could kill all the Rams and could snipe down the skirmishers again.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Viper continuing to heal up and mass up in the middle of the map. Let the Rams do the talking, I suppose, and just continue to take out production. Liereyy has a little bit of walling going on the right side. Viper wants to push out there if he can get around and harass Leary's economy in the back. But for the most part, it's just a big fight in the center of the map all game long.
The big engagement we've been waiting for. I believe that would be horrible for Liereyy. He doesn't have enough skirmishes, especially because he does not have ballistics now. More knights coming out. I believe that's a perfect answer because the skirmishes are the biggest threat to the Viper at the moment.
Absolutely. Liereyy losing a couple buildings, losing a bit of ground, kind of biding his time, waiting for the right army composition to take the fight. But we'd be remiss not to mention that it's 70 units for the Viper and 30 for Liereyy.
Damn, that's so much. Obviously, the Knights are so much stronger. Maybe the Viper is now a bit out of position. Those pikemen not really getting there. The Knights, I believe they need to fall back now. That was a good engagement by Liereyy, killing some skirms, doing some damage. Now falling back, debating those pikemen in, I believe, but no real defense there for our skirmishes.
Liereyy is continuing to back up, continuing to wait for his moment. A huge block of pikemen here in the center are deterring him from getting his knights into the aggression. Mangonel out for the Viper, again continuing to just knock down Leary's production buildings. Leary's floating some wood right now. He can rebuild those archery ranges and barracks, but it's still going to hurt him a lot to lose those production buildings.
Oh yeah, what does he really still have? Look at that 22 military now. That was a very big fight, and most of the stuff of the Viper are actually going down. He's very low when it comes to military numbers. So isn't maybe Liereyy trying to take this back? Viper is still not on the way to MPH. He's now going for all the light cap tech. There are those villagers there to build an offensive castle. Maybe that was the plan, but for now, Liereyy is pushing him back. The army counts are evening out.
Yeah, Liereyy picked the right moment, I suppose, and now his economy is back to work. Certainly lost a lot of gather time in the last couple minutes, but he's still alive here. Viper's still producing a lot of trash, adding in more barracks. If we look from the Viper's point of view, he is getting close to having enough stone to drop a castle. And a castle on Leary's front porch might have sealed the deal on this game, but I think the Viper thinks better of it and he's going to go back.
Yeah, that was a funny thing. Viper actually had enough stone to build a castle there and decided to add another TC. So, yeah, was really on the way to putting up major aggression, and if the castle goes up there, there's no chance of Liereyy ever trying to take another engagement there.
Yeah, Viper on 4 TCs, and it is worth noting that he has pushed through Leary's walls in the middle of the map. Liereyy will re-wall, but the Viper will continue to knock down walls and squeeze Liereyy on that left flank.
The left-hand side, let's take a look if the walls are finishing or if the light cap are squeezing in there at the left-hand side on the outside. Oh, and Liereyy is just finishing that in time.
Just in the nick of time. The battle in the middle continues to rage on. Elite Skirm still for the Viper. Couple more knights added in for the Viper. Plenty of pikemen here. Liereyy rebuilding his barracks on the front. Did lose a few buildings, lost a couple fights, but has not lost the war. It's still anybody's game to win here. Liereyy will have a Mangonel on the other side. May try to harass Viper a little bit there. Viper trying to get in on the left. Imperial Age on the way for the blue player.
That's interesting for sure. At this moment, we have 3 archery rangers for Liereyy, 4, 5 stables, and 3 barracks. So he still has a reasonable amount of production, trying to get his monks there into the TC. I believe if Liereyy can hold like 2-3 more minutes and without taking any more damage, he's in a solid spot.
Yeah, at the moment, oops, I've got a little, oh, there we go. Had a little trouble scrolling there for a moment. Yeah, Viper here again has his skirmishers kind of out over their skis. He's going to take a little damage from these knights. But both guys posturing back and forth. Viper skirmishers are starting to spread around the map to do some damage.
Oh, and now we see the Viper pushing in, but he needs to retreat. The only thing that Liereyy is really missing are some of the defense upgrades. Skirmishers, not a single defense upgrade. Pikemen, not a single defense upgrade. They are taking so much damage from the mass skirmishers here of the Viper.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great point. Missing those upgrades. Skirmishers also starting to harass Liereyy on the other side. He's chopped through this wood line, so the Viper could take advantage of this and send a few knights in here.
Yeah, but at the moment he has to focus with all his army on the front. Let's take a look if the Mangonel can do some damage. It's pretty close to the TC. I think he needs to retreat, and still surprised that Liereyy is completely neglecting the idea of going for a siege workshop himself.
Yeah, Liereyy here has played very defensively for quite some time, but he's still doing pretty well. This TC is still alive on the front. Got 6 idle villagers inside of it. We'd love to see those guys get back to work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stables for Liereyy. He seems to be deep into knight production. Scale mail armor on the way, Imperial Age on the way. Viper on the other side is somewhat close to clicking up, but he's going to be way behind getting to Imp.
Yeah, he's waiting for such a long time, getting the mass amount of golden. And now let's look in the back, because your wish was granted. Those light cap are raiding at the same time. Obviously, Mangonel shots not really hitting, but yeah, beautiful raids there.
Yeah, the Viper getting into that back wood line with a couple of units. He's trying to knock down the front TC, keeping Liereyy busy, seeing if he can get a big shot on Liereyy skirmishers. Viper has clicked Imp, but Liereyy is already there. Lierey's grabbing Bracer, plate barding armor on the way. He's going to continue to beef up his units here, but he's in a little bit of hot water on the front and a little bit of hot water in the back of his eco.
And he's still not noticing that. That is at least 5-6 dead villagers, and it's not like he can spare so many. Yeah, he still has a solid economy, but he would love to click Hussar now. He would love to click light or Cavaliers, Halberdier attack, everything. Maybe even tech into some ramps. But at the moment, only some blacksmith upgrades.
Another stable and a few more barracks coming for the Viper. He will go tracking and iron casting for the moment. We'll continue to watch him produce units and push on the front. Liereyy is in the Imperial Age. He will have plate barding in a moment, and he may take an engagement before Viper gets to Imperial Age. But at least for now, units in the back of Lierey's economy are still raiding. This is crazy.
Man. What's going on?
Still raiding in the back.
Yeah, and he's absolutely not seeing that. Let's take a look. Mangonel's overextending a bit more. Skirmishers still doing lots of damage. I believe the moment the Viper gets into Imperial Age, I want to see a big engagement here for Liereyy. He's only behind by 30 pop here. Military count pretty even. And yeah, but the raid is so real. And I'm not even sure if he's still realized.
We've got 10, 12, maybe 14 villagers dead here on the back of the map for Liereyy. He's going to finish.
Big engagement in the middle now. Let's switch over there. And we can see trying to run around. Oh, that's not enough pikemen here, especially because Bracer's out. And now those knights and Hussars trying to debate in. Need to go back. I'm not 100% sure if that's the best engagement he can take. I believe we will lose way too much here. Skirmishers should have killed those way better. And the Viper taking so much better engagement than I would have thought.
Very cost-effective fight there for the Viper, killing quite a few knights and quite a few Hussar. Liereyy, as you said, wasn't focusing down the pikes too well, and those pikes did a lot of damage. Viper going double siege workshops on the front, going Hussar and plate barding armor. He is still trying to raid on the bottom of the map. Liereyy has walled him out for the moment, but the Viper, controlling a lot of the map at this point, continues to take gold on the left flank here pretty easily.
Yeah, Liereyy is building quite a lot of units, or like a lot of economy in the south here, but yeah, still it's not enough. And look at all the upgrades now of the Viper. He was so last disrupted while going to Imperial Age. Liereyy is still holding on for dear life, but it's looking slimmer and slimmer, especially when camped rams are coming out.
Absolutely. Halberdier, plate barding armor, Hussar, capped ram. Viper's ready to make an Imperial Age push, and Lierey's still not quite there. Defending with Hussar, continuing to hold the line, but he's starting to get pecked away at on all sides, and eventually the Viper will poke through that left flank and try to get into the economy once again.
Oh man, Killer B, what an incredible game here, but it's looking slimmer and slimmer. Liereyy only at 20 army here, 50 for the Viper. So many halberdiers, the Rams are pushing in, getting Bracer, he's getting all the upgrades in the Blacksmith. Skirmisher trying to hold him for dear life, but this might be the last engagement. Let's take a look. Is Liereyy maybe able to out-micro this, but it looks like he has no buffer in front of his Skirmishers. It might be the GG moment.
Yeah, Liereyy here's done a lot of trouble. He's trying to back up and throw in Skirmisher fire from a distance, but he just can't do enough damage to these cavalry. Viper at the moment continues to just raid in here, continues to just throw units at this economy. Capture Ram on the way. GG is in from Liereyy.
Damn, what an impressive game. Fighting for the last 45 minutes on was so impressive. Really neck and neck. I think the two main things here for Liereyy was really the one engagement Knight against Monk, or like Knight Monk against Knight Monk, and not getting the right converts in, losing the monks there before the fight really started. And then I believe the fight just shortly before the Viper hit Imperial Age, he had so many pikemen there, and that's an engagement that Liereyy can just walk in, walk out, and can do so much damage with skirmishers. But took the fight and just really wasted all his cap there, I have to say.
Yeah, I think it did swing at that particular moment, but what I'll say is, this is game one of the winner bracket semifinal, and it did not disappoint. These guys were throwing haymakers all throughout this game. Really great first match. This is a best of three. We'll jump into the achievements, but we'll go into game two in a second, and the Viper will try to punch his ticket to the grand final here today. Just looking at
what a great game. And yeah, both players absolutely need to play their very best to take the W there.
GG indeed. Nilly and I will jump out of this game. We'll set up another, and we will see game number two in just a moment.
Indeed, and we are looking into Bedouins now. Hidden free pick, and yeah. Bedouins, for all the guys who don't know this map, you're starting without a TC and need to run around, build your TC. We can see very scrappy areas. It's an all land map. Bedouins, free pick civilization. They're doing the drafts now, and then we'll see what they will be going for. I expect a lot of aggression. You have such an early, easy build-up, and yeah, you can really go into the aggression with like pop 18, pop 20, and tower rush are an option. We can see archers. Some FC builds are an option. Maybe if you have a long distance, you can even monk rush. Some civilization would offer. Oh, we see interesting civ choices here, and let's see what the Viper will go for. Not 100% sure. Did they, Liereyy? Did you finish the draft yet? Okay, so we will have quite an interesting choice. We will have Liereyy going for the Chinese, obviously a very strong civilization since they are getting 6 villagers, so you can build the TC faster and yeah, can get more resources early on.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see the Chinese on this map. I didn't expect that. You were telling me earlier that you expected Indians on this map. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. You have so much shorefish, and Indians have a bonus that the villagers get shorefish even faster. It's the fastest food you can get in the game. So yeah, it would have been quite a safe pick, I thought, but yeah, seems like I was wrong in that regard. And not even sure what the Viper is picking. He's picking Chinese as well. So that's something that I did not expect. And let's see how that will play it out. Players seem to be ready. And I would say we can jump into game number 2 momentarily. We still have the Viper leading 1-0 here, and now 2 match points for him.
Got you cutting in and out of it. Is that battery okay? It's okay, right? Okay. Just me. Just my ears, I guess.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
Liereyy
Let's-
is running down ready. The Viper seems to be ready as well. And we are going into game number 2 here. No big delays. And now we have series after series. Here, Chinese War, game number 2 on Bedouins with me, Nilly, and Killer B.
Nilly, it's good to be here with you, man. Winners bracket, game number 2 of this best of 3. It's a nomad start on Bedouins. You got to build your town center. Players will be looking around for those extra sheep. That's why they chose Chinese. You can get your TC up faster. You can scout more of the map. You can find more resources early on. Viper seems to be headed left with a lot of villagers. Maybe he'll drop his TC on the western part of the map. Liereyy will do so in the middle, right on a little fish pond. That's really a normal decision on this map.
Absolutely. As we said before, the shorefish for villagers, the fastest food that you can get into this game. And Viper instantly says he wasn't able to build a TC yet. And didn't really find a spot of his liking, and we will just go back.
Alrighty.
Liereyy already took the restart here on map number 1, Chaos Pit, so Viper wasn't really forced to wait any longer. He just thought, okay, unfortunate spot for me. Let's just take the restart and see how it goes. And seems like both players are still ready, and we can restart this one here. Liereyy picked out for a small second. And rejoining some.
Shake your hand to the sound, put your hands on the ground. Take
Crowd
one
is dancing
step
to
left,
Mambo number 5 here.
step right.
Indeed, Mambo number 5 on the speakers behind us. We are ready to Mambo. Game number 2, Viper versus Liereyy, winners bracket semifinal here today. Countdown in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Alrighty, guys, here we are. Game number 2. It is Bedouins, and we will see the Viper versus Liereyy. It is a nomad start. Both players playing as Chinese. They will look around for sheep. They'll scout the map. They'll find a place to drop their town centers. Right off the bat, I'm seeing the Viper close to some sheep, but not quite finding them yet. Liereyy seems to have found a nice little sheep patch off to the side. Looks like Liereyy will drop his town center in the very middle of the map, and Viper will drop his in the north.
Oh, interesting TC placement here. Just compare them. The Viper, only fish, no wood, and on the other side we see Lierey's TC, mainly wood, and not the greatest success to the shorefish there.
Yeah, absolutely. Both players have a little bit. Sorry, Mambo number 5 is messing with me here. They got a little bit of Mardi Gras in their life. They've got a little bit of an advantage. Liereyy with a nice wood line. Viper with a nice fishing pond. Viper will also have a boar nearby. If we look at the Fog of War, we can see a little bit of sheep scouting and sheep being found. Viper at the moment grabbing a couple, but not very many. Actually, most of the sheep on the map have been are still hidden at the moment.
Absolutely. Liereyy, 0. Oh, he has 1 sheep, so his scouting will be very low for a typical game here.
Yeah, you
Oh,
don't.
that is.
It's not as though you need it so bad, but it's great to be able to sheep scout early on in the game and figure out how you're going to play your map, figure out where your opponent is. Lots of sheep here hanging out in the middle, but nobody's been able to find them.
And I have to say, Liereyy not making the most experienced start here. Already having idle TC. Normally you send some villagers before the TC finishes on to food so that you can build the first villager a bit earlier. He opted for finishing the TC a bit earlier and therefore needed to idle a little bit more. Now going for the second mill, or like the first mill, second pond.
So what's interesting to me is when we saw Liereyy playing with Tato earlier today, on his home map, he had a pre-baked strategy. Do you think he's got something ready for the Viper here that he's going to try to surprise him with?
Ooh, good question. Obviously, it's so much easier if you know for like the last 2-3 weeks who you will play, what the maps will be, you know your home map, and yeah, it's so much easier to set something up than to, not really know who you're playing. You have to win first, Viper needs to win. And yeah, it's getting a bit more difficult, so it's more unlikely, I would say. But for now, it always felt like Liereyy knew exactly what civilization he wanted to pick, so he put at least some thought into it.
Absolutely, and just looking at gold positions here real quick. The Viper in the north of the map has a gold pile pretty close to the town center. I think he's going to be able to take that relatively safely. He's got a lot of sheep nearby, which he's scouted. He's going to scout these ones in the west. He's already scouted this group in the east, so he'll be able to grab those. I don't think Liereyy has any sheep nearby, and he doesn't have any terribly good gold piles to take either.
Yeah, it's not a lot of scouting, as we said before, especially for Bedouins. People see very little of the map, as you can see on the mini-map here. Liereyy doesn't really know what's going on, has no idea where the Viper is now building another mill, which I don't like too much. Or is that a house? It's a house. Okay, that makes more sense.
House coming up on the side there for Liereyy. Again, it is a Chinese mirror here, and we will see this game. Oh, sorry. We'll see this game go down on Bedouins. This is a map that I usually see scouts and towers being really effective in. Do you anticipate that in this game, or do you see something else possibly coming in the future?
Especially scouts are, I believe, not the greatest choice, because villagers are always super clumped up at the ponds and only need 2 palisade walls to be super safe in between the shorefish, the palisades, and the mill that you already built.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, and Liereyy here expanding to the south. Will drop a mill. Shore fishing like a madman on that side. Viper coming forward to build a mill here. Pretty close to Lierey's base, and Lierey's going to scout him out. He's going to find him.
Oh, and that's a good intel here for Liereyy. He knows more about the Viper than the Viper knows about Liereyy now, because that's the scouting build of Liereyy, and he could have come from anywhere.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at that. Now we're going for this small laming here. Palisade walls, but got denied.
Yeah, it looks like Viper here will chase Liereyy back home and find the TC, or almost find the town center. Probably can surmise where Liereyy is at now. Viper still sheep scouting around. Both players are on about 15, 16 villagers, continuing to build up here early on. In game number 2, if you guys missed it, game 1 went to the Viper, so if he can win game 2, he'll carry.
Let's take a look. Oh, he's walling those villagers in. Let's take a look if he can wall with the palisade. Indeed, beautiful. No, it's actually still open. The Viper could retreat here. It's 3 against 2 villagers fighting in that small arena there. The other ones are 1v1, and it's not the first villager kill. Let's take a look if Liereyy can pull that one back, or if it's a 2v1 fight, or a 2v1 trade, or... Oh, and that's going down, and maybe the Viper can even pull that one back. That would be so unfortunate. How did Liereyy not have that one close? But he's running around the pond and is closing that. Great move, and that villager will be trapped.
Wow, absolutely beautiful play. The Palisade Shuffle is on. Viper is now walled into that back area of the pond. Liereyy able to do a good bit of laming, and he's going to make the Viper's investment in this mill a really bad investment at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and losing, as we said, at least one villager now. The second one is idle. She should wall behind herself, and yeah, up. And getting him. Good job. Way, well, going crazy.
Very well played there by Liereyy. Very cheeky move, worked out great for him. We'll give him a little bit of an advantage, and now he's dead even on villagers. In this game, both guys continuing to fish, getting their economies in order. Viper with 350 food, 50 gold. Liereyy is quite similar, a little bit less food in the bank for him. So both players might be thinking about clicking up relatively soon.
And then we have to see what they're going for. Is it Archer? Is it maybe Towers? I believe with that short distance, FC is completely out of the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Viper here still sitting on some extra sheep. That will be a nice advantage for him when the shore fish is gone. For now, it doesn't matter. Still shore fishing, both players behind their town centers. Liereyy will expand out to the left of his eco to take that gold pile. He still has not been able to grab all these extra sheep to the left, hasn't been able to find them. Viper has been able to grab those extra sheep.
The problem at the moment for Liereyy is you need 2 buildings to click up, and he only has 2 mills so far. So no lumber camp, no mining camp, and therefore, even if he has 600 food, he cannot click up. We need to wait for the mining camp to finish before he can go up to the Feudal.
It's a good point. Yeah, Liereyy here is going to be delayed just a few more seconds. In the end, 23 villagers. Liereyy will be going up to the Feudal Age. Viper will have a massive time advantage. If we look at Viper's eco, he's headed over to gold with a couple vills. His barracks is down. He's not taking any stone. So we may just see a couple of ranged units here in the long run. Not quite sure what the Viper will do yet, but we'll find out in just a moment when he hits the Feudal Age.
He's not queuing up any militia, so most likely, since he's sending 2 villagers on gold, some archers, maybe some skirmishers mixed in as well.
So for the moment, we build through this one as players work their way to the Feudal Age. Liereyy will have a bigger economy in the Dark Age, but he will, of course, be slower getting up. 3 villagers out on gold, 4th villager on the way over for Liereyy. Still shore fishing on the bottom of the map. Feudal Age comes in for the Viper. A couple villagers will get in on building an archery range there on the front, and Viper can start to harass Liereyy on the other side of the map.
So we will see, even a blacksmith here for the Viper. That's something we don't see too often. So that will be archers and fletching super early on. If Liereyy just goes 2 archery ranges and builds a lot of skirmishes, he should have a good advantage.
Yeah, Viper sending a spear forward right away, see if he can get some harassment in. He wants to win back this pond that Liereyy took from him, I think, at some point. Viper still roaming around with the 3 vills. We'll see what he builds next. Mill on this side would be beautiful with all these deer and fish just waiting to be had. But for now, we'll watch the Viper roam forward with a couple of archers and a couple of spears.
Yeah, the spear is mainly there to scout. He doesn't have a lot of intel yet, what Liereyy is really going for. From all that the Viper knows, Liereyy could still play this FC. Playing in Pop 23 +2 isn't super uncommon. And there is indeed 600 food in the bank, 200 gold. Let's see how much pressure the Viper can put on him.
Yeah, Liereyy will drop a stable blacksmith instead of archery ranges here, and he's going to see if he can get into maybe the Viper's economy a bit. He's going to have a lot of trouble with these spearmen and archers coming forward from the Viper. As long as the Viper micros properly, he should be able to deal with any scouts. Liereyy here is going to lose a vill, so Viper on the offensive early on in the Feudal Age.
Yeah, and Liereyy really needs to save all his villagers. Let's take a look how exposed is this map. His gold super exposed, now trying to get a tower up at the left hand side here. Wood reasonably close to the TC, can still get a lot of shorefish at his TC, so that's all reasonable. Let's see what the knights will do, and Liereyy now clicking up to the castle age.
Liereyy going up to Castle Age, hoping to defend his resources from the Viper's pressure here. Couple vills still exposed, but I think he can get those out of dodge. Just a few spearmen coming in for now. Archers are still roaming around from the Viper, seeing if he can get some more damage in. Second archery range coming from the yellow player, and he is not going to be clicking up anytime soon at all. Does not have very much food in the bank.
Yeah, that's absolutely not his strategy. He needs to go for mass, archer, and spearman now. Maybe even that amount. Oh, what is Liereyy doing here? Sending in some villagers. Not 100% sure if that's super efficient. Will lose at least 1 villager. Might even lose 2 if the micro isn't great. Let's take a look. 1 down. And now trying to focus down another one. If she's going to the right hand side, I believe Viper could even decide to go in again. But for now, 1 villager lost.
Absolutely, yeah. Liereyy here is he's really being harassed. He wants to get to Castle Age, but of course he needs to have resources to gather when he gets there. Needs to have his villagers alive. Viper still keeping the pressure on. Couple spearmen, couple of archers here for the Viper. Liereyy kind of going for a naked fast castle, and he's kind of getting punished for it. We'll see what he can do when he gets up in the Castle Age in just a moment.
And look at that. He is building a lumber camp there at the right hand side. Super vulnerable. I'm not 100% sure if I like that decision. He knows that Viper has mass amount of army out. He knows that the Viper is in that direction. So just by accident, like 5 archers could show around without the Viper actually knowing that the lumber camp is there.
Yeah, Viper at the moment on 10 military, Liereyy on 0. Viper will come in under this tower if he can. Leary's not able to wall it up in time, so a couple of archers here will idle this entire gold pile from Liereyy. No gold, no knights. That's all there is to it, right?
Oh man, let's take a look what he's doing. He's queuing up some knights now, but he's just trying to fight down those archers under the tower. He's killing 1 archer, but now needs to jump back into the tower. That's so annoying. That's time that Liereyy actually wants to get his ego up.
Absolutely. Liereyy will beat this back, but he's going to lose a lot of gathering time. In the meantime, for just a couple of archers here from the Viper, Liereyy is up. His knights are starting to roll out. No upgrades on those units for the moment. Viper on the other side, only 200 food, 100 gold.
And
so
at the right hand side now at the wood spot, we see exactly what we were fearing. He's going over, and yeah, that's just what we said before. This map not really designed to play in super safe FC. The Viper just pushing down, +1 attack, +1 defense. Villager count at the moment 32 to 22.
Absolutely. Liereyy here is in a lot of trouble. He's got the higher quality unit, the Knights out on the field, but he doesn't have many, and he's losing his economy and his ability to produce more Knights. Viper is starting to get up a really nice mass of spears and archers. He is still in the Feudal Age and will be there for a bit longer, but Viper absolutely in the driver's seat in this game.
Absolutely. Look at the berries at the same time. Mangonel is trying to come out. Some villagers will go down. Let's take a look. Mangonel shot. Oh, papa!
All right. Liereyy here trying to draw himself back into contention. Gets a really good mango shot. Gets a spearman as icing on the cake. And all of a sudden, he's got a little bit of something to hang his hat on, but he's still behind by a dozen vills.
And the Knights at the same time at the top left-hand side a bit higher for you. He is losing his Knights, and yeah, the Viper even now going for forging to do even more damage to those Knights. Those archers still running around in the map, being super annoying at the same time. It is such a tough spot here for Liereyy, and he's sending back villagers to the already super exposed spot.
Yeah, at the moment, Liereyy is just trying to find a safe place to take resources. His Mangonel is keeping him afloat. Good mango shot here on the bottom of the map, but he's having a lot of trouble with the Viper, who's pestering him from all sides. Viper switching into a couple scouts here late in the Feudal Age. What do you think about that? Instead of trying to click up, Viper's going to add in a few scouts.
I believe it's a perfect decision. Liereyy only holding on because he still has a Mangonel, but if this one Mangonel oversteps anytime soon, the scouts will just come in, kill the Mangonel, and probably end the game with it.
Interesting. Viper going for the kill here rather than going up to Castle Age for the moment. Still harassing Liereyy. Liereyy right now is just in so much trouble. He's just being bothered on so many different fronts. He does have one Knight into the Viper's economy, but Viper with a couple of spears here should be able to deal with that. Should not lose too much on that side. Here come the scouts in for the Mangonel.
And the question is he actually going for the Mangonel, or is he just trying to kill some of the villagers? He's going in, he's going back, and yeah, we see the whole eco of Liereyy here on one screen, but like half of the time villagers are just going back and forth, trying to get safe into the CC and not really getting the resources.
Yeah, Viper at the moment is absolutely putting the squeeze on Liereyy. Seems to be in a really great spot, but he is still in the Feudal Age at the moment. Ooh. Scouts poking in, dodging a Mangonel shot, and get him back on a dodge.
Yeah, those villagers were close to dying. Now even forced to be building a farm. On Bedouins, you don't want to build a farm being in Castle Age. You want to just have all the map control, and now even the Viper is clicking up to Castle Age here. Population count 28 to 57.
Yeah, and the thing right now for Liereyy is he's on one food. He's having so much trouble even just keeping his town center going. Does have a couple Mangonels, does have a monk out. Seems to play to his strength of his economy.
The berries, the villagers are getting sniped down again, but getting them into the field. Let's take a look what the Mangonels can do. You can see archers.
Yeah, on the top of the map, a couple Mangonels for Liereyy are going to push this side, but he'll lose a monk there for very cheap. So Viper able to even snipe a monk there.
Yeah, that's so brutal. Let's take a look at the 3 scouts over. Maybe we can see some ground attack. Could kill those scouts, but we can see the Viper still going back.
Viper will go back for the moment. Scale barding armor on the way. Viper's economy is relatively safe back at home. Still chewing through this massive amount of food in the north. Still has a bit of gold that's very safe. 1,600 gold, actually quite a lot. So Viper can sustain the fight in the Castle Age. He will be several villagers ahead when he gets up, but he's still continuing to put the pressure on right now.
Several villagers up, so much more army in general, all the map control, knows everything about Liereyy, and yeah, the raiding just continues. And just think about it, scouts can run in and all the villagers are low. There's not a single villager that didn't have to run to see today.
Yeah, Viper here raiding on all different sides. Liereyy, the only thing he's really got left to hang his hat on is a couple of Mangonels roaming around, but he can't find a good place to prod the Viper. Did a little damage to this archery range, but then decided to retreat. Gonna mass up a couple more monks and maybe a few more Mangonels. Viper hits the Castle Age.
And GG, the Viper going into the grand finals. Liereyy dropping down into the consolation finals there to face Toto. Pretty intense series, and I believe the wrong strategy choice here by Liereyy.
GG indeed. Viper there playing a really nice, clean match. Did make some really great strategy choices. He actually was able to starve Liereyy of food on a map that has a ton of food on it. In the end, Viper will grab the win here. Liereyy will go down to the losers bracket final. And if he can win that final, we may see him play the Viper again later today.